What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we have the official information now, translated information, for the brand new Sugafest exclusive Reiju and Vivi, the summer versions of Reiju and Vivi. This is a pretty awesome batch. I'm really excited for this one. The thing about it is like we kind of already knew that Reiju was going to be coming in the near future, or at least we kind of suspected it was going to be, with a new poison effect coming into the game, but we didn't know that Vivi was coming, which is pretty awesome. So 2 new legends, 2 new summer legends, and the whole Sugafest is obviously based around the summer characters. I know that summer V3 Boa Hancock, the super type Boa, is like featured on the banner as well. But I know you guys want to hear about the information and my opinions on it, so here we go. Let's start off with Reiju, who is the most interesting of the batch. Reiju is super cool, with a very brand new poison type mechanic, and the Reiju artwork looks obviously really awesome. So this Reiju is a super type character, super int. Who would have thought another super type character that's int? Absolutely crazy, dude. So she is a super int cerebral powerhouse, and you'll see a lot of the characters here. Well, actually, I think every single character we're going to be talking about in this video is a cerebral unit. So this whole batch is based around the cerebral stuff, but one thing I want to point out real quick is that this potential ability, this was relatively new. I know that another character released recently with it. This potential ability is not super great. It's just super weird, and it's really hard to max, of course, because like there's no tablets available. It's just a very weird one. It's the one where like your slots are input into those barriers, and you have to hit like a good, a great, or a perfect to unlock it. It's just removing that, which is both a good and a bad thing, because sometimes it can be a detriment to your crew, but sometimes you can use it in a positive way as well. But just obviously that's just kind of annoying. But let's go through what she actually does, okay? So Reiju, her captain effect is going to boost int, cerebral, and powerhouse by 5 times, 1.2 health. And then here is like the new mechanic, okay? So when the crew activates a special that does any type of poison to the enemy, it will change the poison into a new thing called Reiju poison. So we obviously have regular poison, we've got strong poison, and toxic. Those are the 3 types of poison in the game. Reiju poison is basically a 4th type of poison in the game. So basically any other poison you activate, like toxic, like from a Magellan special for example, it becomes this type of poison instead. We'll talk more about what Reiju poison actually is in a little bit. But then it also says that if the enemy inflicts you with any type of poison, then in the following turn it's going to automatically trigger Reiju's special ability. Okay, so that's basically what it is. So you got the boost, you got the health, and then anytime you use a poison, inflict them with the new poison, and anytime you're inflicted with poison, launches her special ability, okay? The special cooldown will not be affected when it's triggered by the captain effect, and when the special is triggered by the captain effect and enemies are defeated, when you move on to the next stage, the trigger, the special will not trigger even if the conditions are met. So it's basically saying it'll only work for that specific stage. You can't like carry it into the next stage or anything, but you know, it's fine. This captain effect is good, but it really comes down to how good this Reiju poison actually is. So let's go ahead and have a look at her special ability and see what's going on, okay? So her special ability on a 13-turn cooldown, pretty good. We'll go ahead and for 3 turns boost the attack of int, cerebral, and powerhouse characters by 2.25. That's really good. And then remove any form of poison and paralysis. That is really good, of course, because remember, anytime that you're inflicted with a poison by the enemy, it activates her special, which of course, as we can see here, removes it. And also, as we've already seen, it doesn't like affect your character's cooldown. So if your character's special is already maxed, it's going to automatically use it, and then like your Reiju special is still going to be ready to go for another stage as well. So it's really interesting. So it removes any form of poison and paralysis. When the enemy has already been inflicted with a poison or a strong poison, a toxic, or Reiju poison, so it means that if you've activated it as a sub and you know you don't have access to Reiju poison, you can still use this, okay? So any poison that's been activated, if the enemy has a poison, it will go ahead and inflict a 30% HP cut poison. So this is super interesting because it means that, you know, as it says, if the enemy has a poison effect on them, when Reiju special is activated, it does a 30% health cut on them, but it's classified as poison damage. It's not classified as a regular health cut, at least from what we see right here, which is super unique. And this means that you can use it in absurd content to just get a free health cut off of them. I'd like to know, does it go through barriers? Does it go through normal attacks only? I assume it does at this point because it's poison damage, and typically poison damage is not affected by barriers or normal attacks only. So that seems super interesting to have a character that can just launch a special that does this. This is super cool. But after doing that 30% poison health cut, it will then go ahead and remove the poison poison on the enemies. So it kind of is very similar to what Reiju actually does, right? Where she's able to consume the poison off of the enemy, but upon doing that, upon consuming that poison away from them, it does a health cut to them, which is really cool. But then it says, if there's no poison on them, it will go ahead and inflict the enemies with a Reiju poison. Now this is giving you an insight as to what Reiju poison actually does. It says it cuts the HP of each enemy by 20% at the end of the turn, and then heals your crew by 20% of your max HP value to the crew. But then it also says attack boost against enemies with poison also works with Reiju poison. So it means that conditional boost will still launch against Reiju poisoned enemies. This is a super unique kit, and when I first read it, I was just like, I wasn't that excited about it. I was like, okay, it's a new poison mechanic. It seems kind of weird. But after having a look at all of this, like, how can you not say this character is awesome? Like, this character is super unique. Obviously, the one thing about this character that I don't like is that there's no orb manipulation at all, so you still have to bring other characters to generate some slots for you, so that does kind of suck. But I mean, just looking at raw damage potential that this character has, it's pretty impressive, and this character is going to be really good on Kizuna Clash, for example. This character is going to be so good on Kizuna Clash, so I really like this. This is a very impressive looking kit right here, and as we said, this character works with any other character that is able to launch poison against the enemy. So you could use, like, I mean, Legend Magellan would be the one that comes to mind, V2 Legend Magellan, because he is a powerhouse character, and you're able to get color affinity off of him and an attack boost off of him, and then this character also will grant another attack boost, but still you're able to get color affinity, attack boost, and then you've got Reiju poison with the HP cut. Like, there's really cool things going on here, and I'm very excited to see how this character is able to be used in content. Very excited. I mean, I just can't wait until Global just catches up to Japan at this point, because all of these new legends that debut, you know, Global's going to get access to at the same time, so it's going to be awesome to test out some of these kits. But let's have a look at the super type condition. Now, the super type says that you have to have a team of 6 cerebral and powerhouse characters, which is essentially the same type of condition as Legend Moria, where he just says you need 6 characters on your crew that are either driven or powerhouse. Exact same thing. But remember that, you know, Reiju is an int captain as well, so it means that most of the time you're not really running like a full int team. You mainly just want to be running the class team. But, you know, you can still run int characters if you want, so long as, you know, they have those classes. But when you launch the super type special, it says for 1 turn, boost the orbs of int, cerebral, and powerhouse characters by 2 times. So if you're able to generate those matching slots for your team, you can get an orb boost and an attack boost and Reiju poison from this character. So I like it. I think Reiju is a pretty impressive character thus far, and as I said, I'm just super excited to see what she does in game, like just utilizing some of the characters that we have access to. But then her sailor effects, stats to those classes, and Psi Orbs is beneficial, which is good. She obviously has the orb lock reduction, she has orb seal by 7 and pinch healing, which is pretty good. Support effect, once per adventure, when the supported character does a special that changes your slots for 1 turn, boost the attack of cerebral by 1.75. This is a great support, definitely going to see play. Any support that triggers a 1.75 attack or orb boost is always going to be useful to have, and attaches to any cerebral unit, which is good. But having a look at her Pirate Rumble stuff, so she is an int character, obviously, in Pirate Rumble, so her special, which is, let's have a look at her CT. It is a 26 CT. It will go ahead and give you level 5 defense to your int characters for 20 seconds, level 3 continuous damage over time to all enemies for 25 seconds, and periodically heal herself by 660. That's a pretty average special, honestly. Like, continuous damage over time has never been a useful thing in Pirate Rumble. Defense up is nice, and the healing is like whatever, but honestly, this is a pretty average special for Pirate Rumble, because you mainly want to have ultra defense or ultra offense, and this unfortunately doesn't really provide much in either department, unfortunately. Her passive, though, is really good. Int characters get level 5 health, level 5 speed, level 3 defense. That's a fantastic ability, but unfortunately the special kind of lets herself down there. But there we go. That's the rundown of the brand new Suguro Fest exclusive Reiju. I think she's super unique, and I definitely think she's like one of the better legends in the game. Great captain effect as well, boosting in Cerebral and Powerhouse. I mean, Cerebral and Powerhouse have some great characters they got access to, so Reiju's honestly really good. But there's also the other Suguro Fest exclusive we have to talk about, and that is going to be Vivi. Let's go ahead and get the max stats up. So Summer Vivi, the character that no one really expected to be coming out, is a strength cerebral free spirit character. So obviously her captain effect is going to be boosting those 3 types of characters, strength, cerebral, and free spirit, by 5 times, 1.2 health, and then reduce 10 turns of special seal. So a very plain Jane looking captain effect, so pretty boring, but on paper though, it's a good captain effect, because I mean, any 5 times boost to those characters is not bad. You cannot say that's a bad thing. 1.2 health, and like, just like, the utility is great. The thing that I see is like, why would you build a character so nuanced with Reiju, and then you have like this regular plain Jane captain effect for Vivi? Definitely they're playing favorites here. I mean, I'm not saying this is bad at all, but I think they probably should have done a little bit more. I feel like maybe adding some additional matching slots, so when you're not using your special, you're able to still generate some matching slots for your crew. Maybe healing after every perfect, or every time you kill an enemy, you heal some HP back. I think that would have been pretty interesting for the character as well. Or maybe just add like 10 turns of like another utility on top of it. I think would have been super cool. But on paper, still a great captain effect. Special ability, which I assume is also going to be 13 turns. It is 13 turns. It will go ahead and state, for 3 turns, boost the orbs of Strength, Cerebral, and Free Spirit by 2.25. Changes all orbs, including block, into matching orbs, and lock your orbs for 1 turn. I mean, we don't even have to look at the rest. That alone is phenomenal. That is so good. Just generating matching slots, giving your orb boost to those 3 types of units, which is ridiculously good. But then there's that added effect that we've said, if you've already got an orb boost active on your crew, it extends the duration of the orbs by 2 turns and then gives you a plus 0.25 to that orb boost. So it means that if you've used a Vivi already, you can use your secondary Vivi, if you've got 2 Vivi captains, to make it a 5-turn orb boost, and it's a 2.5 times orb boost instead for 5 turns. That's really cool. It does mean that, you know, you can run the 2 Vivis and like 1 special isn't completely useless. You can actually still add to the one that you've already got active. Of course, you do have to keep in mind that if the enemy, you know, removes your beneficial effects upon moving into a new stage, it's obviously going to get rid of the orb boost. So it depends on the content, of course. But either way, I like that you have the option to just make your orb boost that you already have last for longer and be a stronger orb boost, so you can get through content a bit easier. I really do like that, actually. It's very, very cool. And her super type condition is the exact same condition as Reiju, but for a different class. You need 6 Cerebral or Free Spirit characters, and then it's basically the opposite of Reiju, giving your Strength, Cerebral, and Free Spirit a 2 times attack boost. So this character can grant you a full border matching orbs and a 2.25 orb boost and a 2 times attack boost during that turn. Like, this unit is really good. It's very straightforward, very plain, but on paper, it's very good, though. You can't say it's bad, because this character is still going to dominate content, especially having access to Strength, Cerebral, and Free Spirit characters. But it's kind of weird, because like this reminds me so much of like Kozuki Odin, but the fact that it's a 3-turn orb boost is just infinitely better. Plus, you know, you just generate matching slots for free. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how times have changed. Looking at her sailor effects, though, stats to those 2 classes, and quick is beneficial to the crew, which is good. She has the orb lock reduction thingamajig as well as Reiju, which is annoying, and then she also has pinch healing and slot bind, which she completely removes it on herself. Not too many characters these days that had slot bind completely remove it, so I'm really glad to see that's the case. Honestly, I feel any character that has slot bind in the 3rd spot should have it completely removed. I feel like that should be a constant. I don't know why that's not a thing, but it's good to see. It's good to see. And then her support effect is basically the opposite of what Reiju was. So if you use a special that triggers change of orbs, you will go ahead and get a 1.75 orb boost to your Cerebral characters. The fact you can have these 2 characters just as support on your team to get a 1.75 boosts just for free is ridiculously good. I love that. And then in Pirate Rumble, which we can have a look at her stats, I assume she's very similar in terms of CT. Yeah, it's 26 CT once again, which will go ahead and for your strength unit. So strength allies passive, level 5 speed, and for the first 40 seconds, level 5 CT charge up. That's ridiculous. Level 5 CT up is very good, but the problem there is that the strength teams in Pirate Rumble, the big thing with strength teams is they really lack in the defensive department, and this does not help in any way, shape, or form, so I'm not a big fan of that. But 26 CT for 1.5 times attack to all enemies, that's good, and 50% chance to special seal all enemies in a large range, and 7 attack up to your strength allies. Okay, I mean, definitely not a character I don't think is ever going to see play in Pirate Rumble, but it's interesting, especially the CT up in her passive. That's like probably the most interesting part of her kit, because that's a huge CT increase. Not too many characters ever CT increase that high, so that's actually pretty interesting. But that's the brand new Sugofest exclusive Vivi. Both are pretty interesting. You know, Vivi's definitely a little bit more plain and straightforward, as we've kind of understood, but Reiju with her new poison mechanic, I think, is probably the most interesting part of this entire kit. But let's have a look at some of the other characters quickly before we end the video. So there's 2 new rare recruits in this batch. We have a brand new rare recruit, Bello Betty, which is a character we weren't expecting to see, but Bello Betty is an int cerebral free spirit, and her special on a 12-turn cooldown will change all orbs into either int or strength, and then for 1 turn, lock those orbs, and then reduce 5 turns of despair and chain lock, and then for 3 turns, you get a 0.8 chain boost. I mean, the best part, of course, is the utility. The 5-turn Despair and Chain Lock removal is really good. The Chain Boost is kind of like whatever. I'm not really a big fan of this. This is just super whatever. And I don't really understand why she changes the orbs into Int and Strength, considering none of the characters in this batch have a Captain effect that treat those slots as beneficial, unless if they have it in their Sailor effect. Well, yeah, does the other one make Strength beneficial? Okay, you know what? Forget what I said. Obviously, I wasn't reading ahead, so that obviously makes sense. If you use Bello Betty and the other rare recruit in this batch together, yes, then you will get a full board of matching slots. Okay, that's just... it's just stupid. Okay, anyways, the support effect of Bello Betty, during the adventure, if you're inflicted with chain coefficient reduction, reduce it by 2 turns, and then get a 0.3 chain boost for that turn as well. It's fine. I mean, the 2-turn reduction is fine. You know, nothing crazy, but you might see use for this. This is not too bad at all, I guess. Nothing really too crazy there. But, you know, Bello Betty, she's an okay rare recruit. I don't think she's going to be seeing, like, heaps of play, but, you know, it's okay. And then the last rare recruit of the batch is going to be Koala. So Koala is a strength cerebral fighter, and her special on a 12-turn cooldown reduces 5 turns of bind and attack down. That's good. And for 1 turn, boost the color affinity of your cerebral and fighters by 1.75. And if you hit 3 perfects, you get a 2 times color affinity to those classes in the following turn. This is good. I think this is actually a very, very good special ability for a rare recruit. I mean, color affinity over multiple rooms is fantastic. Plus, you just get, like, utility as well. Like, 5 turns of bind and attack down is very good. I'm glad that they're going back to the 5-turn debuff removals, because when they have those batches that only remove it by 4 turns, I just hate it. I don't understand why they ever do it. Like, they should always maintain these units now to be minimum of 5-turn debuff removal. I'm really, really happy about that. And then this character's support. Once during the adventure, when you're inflicted with bind or attack down, reduce it by 1 turn. Ugh, 1 turn. Oh, that's... I mean, that might still be useful, but it's so annoying that it's 1 turn. I would have preferred if it was 2 turns, but for only one of them, I would have preferred it like 2 turns of attack down or 2 turns of bind instead. But I mean, it's still usable, I guess. You know, maybe there's going to be content that reduces bind by 4, like you get inflicted with it like what, by like 4 turns or something, and then the sockets get rid of it, and then you can have this 1 additional turn. I don't know. Maybe there's niche content like that, but little bit annoyed by that, but it's fine. But then we got some free-to-play units, okay? So as we've established that Koala and the Bello Betty, those are rare recruits. But then there's 2 free-to-play units. You've got Monet as one of them, and Baby 5 as the other one. So here's Monet, Summer Monet, who's Strength, Cerebral, Free Spirit. And her special, at a 11-turn cooldown, delays all enemies for 1 turn, gets a 1.75 times conditional against the delayed enemies, and then 4-turn blindness removal and 4-turn resilience removal. And once per adventure, when they use a special, you get a 1.3 attack boost against delayed enemies. Okay, like, supports like this are never super useful, I think. But a self-proccing delayed conditional, like, it's fine. You might see use for it. It's okay. Resilience removal is kind of nice, I suppose. Blindness removal is interesting. I would have preferred it just to be on her Sailor and instead, but, you know, it's whatever. But some of Monet is okay, I guess. But remember, she is a free-to-play unit. But then the other free-to-play unit is Baby 5, who is an Int Shooter Cerebral on a 12-turn cooldown. Chain his own orb, including block, into a Super Bomb slot. That's a throwback. And reduce 4 turns of burn, 4 turns of Rainbow Shield, and a 1.75 orb boost to Cerebral and Shooters. Again, 4-turn debuff removal is kind of annoying, but I guess it could be worse. Crew that will treat bomb orbs as beneficial. Does that count as Super Bomb as well? If a unit treats bomb as beneficial, does Super Bomb count as beneficial as well? I don't know. That would be pretty weird if it didn't. Okay, and support is when they use the special, reduce 3 turns of... Wow, that's pretty good. I mean, unfortunately, there's not many good Psi units in the game, but damn, dude. If this was a little bit more generic, this could have been, like, legit one of the best free-to-play supports in the game. That's actually hella good. Okay, well, that's the rundown of all the new characters coming out. Definitely Reiju is the one I'm most excited for. I think she has the potential to be probably one of the most broken units in the game, but you do have to keep in mind that the poison that she inflicts does not bypass, she doesn't bypass, like, full immunity or anything. Actually, well, now that I'm thinking about it, you know, when an enemy has a poison immunity, they resist poison, strong poison, and toxic. There's no immunity to Reiju poison, kind of similar to the, you know, like the switch effect of Mihawk Perona, or the Mirror effect from Boa Hancock. You know, if they've got full immunity, yeah, they block everything. But there's no, like, specific specific immunity to block Reiju poison. So that's actually pretty cool. You got to keep that in mind, that Reiju has the potential to be pretty freaking broken. So I'm very excited to see some of the JP players get their hands on Reiju and use her in content, because she looks pretty awesome. But that's the rundown of the new characters. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.